Let's continue to read the book by Sam Harris, Waking Up, A Guide to Spirituality Without Religion. This book is by turns a seeker's memoir, an introduction to the brain, a manual of a contemplative instruction, and a philosophical unraveling of what most people consider to be the center of their inner lives. The feeling of self we call I. I have not set out to describe all the traditional approaches to spirituality and to weigh their strength and weaknesses. Rather, my goal is to pluck the diamond from the dunghill of esoteric religion. There is a diamond there, and I have devoted a fair amount of my life to contemplating it. But getting it in hand requires that we remain true to the deepest principles of scientific skepticism and make no obeisance to tradition. Where I do discuss specific teachings, such as those of Buddhism or Advaita Vedanta, it isn't my purpose to provide anything like a comprehensive account. Readers who are loyal to any one spiritual condition or who specialize in the academic study of religion may view my approach as the quintessence of arrogance. I consider that rather a symptom of impatience. There is barely time enough in a book or in a life to get to the point. Just as a modern treatise on weaponry would omit the casting of spells and would very likely ignore the slingshot and the boomerang. I will focus on what I consider the most promising lines of a spiritual inquiry. My hope is that my personal experience will help readers to see the nature of their own minds in a new light. A rational approach to spirituality seems to be what is missing from secularism and from the lives of most people I meet. The purpose of this book is to offer readers a clear view of the problem, along with some tools to help them solve it for themselves. The search for happiness. One day you will find yourself outside this world, which is like a mother's womb. You will leave this earth to enter, while you are yet in the body, a vast expanse, and know that the words, God's earth is vast. Name this region from which the saints have come. Jalaluddin Rumi. I share the concern expressed by many atheists that the terms spiritual and mystical are often used to make claims not merely about the quality of certain experiences, but about reality at large. Far too often, these words are invoked in support of religious beliefs that are morally and intellectually Gnostic. Consequently, many of my fellow atheists consider all talk of spirituality to be a sign of a mental illness, conscious imposture, or self-deception. This is a problem because millions of people have had experiences for which spiritual and mystical seem to only terms available. Many of the beliefs people form on the basis of these experiences are false. But the fact that most atheists will view a statement like Rumi's above as a symptom of the man's derangement grants a kernel of truth to the rantings of even our least rational opponents. The human mind does, in fact, contain vast expanses that few of us ever discover. And there is something degraded and degrading about many of our habits of attention as we shop, gossip, argue, and ruminate our way to the grave. Perhaps I should speak only for myself here. It seems to me that I spend much of my waking life in a neurotic trance. My experiences in meditation suggest, however, that an alternative exists. It is possible to stand free of the juggernaut of self, if only for moments at a time. Most cultures have produced men and women who have found that certain deliberate uses of attention, meditation, yoga, prayer, can transform their perception of the world. Their efforts generally began with the realization that even in the best of circumstances, happiness is elusive. We seek pleasant sights, sounds, tastes, sensations, and moods. We satisfy our intellectual curiosity. We surround ourselves with friends and loved ones. We become connoisseurs of art, music, or food. But our pleasures are, by their very nature, fleeting. If we enjoy some great professional success, our feelings of accomplishment remains vivid and intoxicating for an hour, or perhaps a day, but then they subside, and the search goes on. The effort required to keep boredom and other unpleasantness at bay must continue, moment to moment. Ceaseless change is an unreliable basis for lasting fulfillment. Realizing this, many people began to wonder whether a deeper source of well-being exists. Is there a form of happiness beyond the mere repetition of a pleasure and avoidance of a pain? Is there a happiness that does not depend upon having one's favorite foods available, or friends and loved ones within arm's reach, or good books to read, or something to look forward to on the weekend? Is it possible to be happy before anything happens, before one's desires are gratified, in spite of life's difficulties, in the very midst of physical pain, old age, disease, and death? We are all, in some sense, living our answer to this question, and most of us are living as though the answer were no. No, nothing is more profound than repeating one's pleasures and avoiding one's pains. Nothing is more profound than seeking satisfaction, sensory, emotional, and intellectual. Moment after moment, just keep your foot on the gas until you run out of a road.